The government is hiding something in Antarctica: remote, wild, frigid, and vast. Antarctica is the only continent with no history of human habitation. Its vast ice fields have formed a blank slate onto which humanity can project itself, all of itself, from the imperial superego to the conspiratorial ID. This land of everlasting mystery, as Antarctica's most famous explorer Admiral Byrd calls it, is teeming with surprises and discoveries. The key to Earth's past, present, and future all intersect on the fifth largest continent, the size of the United States. From ancient lost civilizations and extraterrestrial bases to covert military operations and uncharted natural wonders, Antarctica invites us to question what we know of our world's history, its present, and the possibilities that lie hidden beneath miles of ice. But the story of Antarctica is the story of secrecy enshrouded in government non-disclosure and cover-up. The Antarctic Treaty, established during the height of the Cold War along with the remnant fears and lessons from history's multifaceted weapons of war, have come together to fortify this seemingly desolate land into a realm guarded both by nature and rigid international accord. The mystery of Antarctica might be deep forever below its snow and ice if it weren't for a few brave explorers who, despite the risk of being rid of, have guardedly unveiled layers of truth in small bits and pieces that reveal a mysterious darkly hidden past. There comes a time when the rationality of men must fade into insignificance, and one must accept the inevitability of the truth. I am not at liberty to disclose the following documentation at this writing, perhaps it shall never see the light of public scrutiny, but I must do my duty and record here for all to read one day. In a world of greed and exploitation of mankind can no longer suppress that which is truth. Join us as we dig deep into the world-shattering revelations of the White Continent, exploring the scientific discoveries, speculative theories, and ongoing quests that have captivated the imagination of explorers and researchers for decades. Antarctica, a hotbed for conspiracy theories. Antarctica, the southernmost continent on Earth, is a land of extremes. It is the coldest, driest, and windiest continent, almost entirely ice-covered, but Antarctica is also a place of great beauty and mystery. Antarctica's exploration dates back to the early 16th century when European explorers first ventured into the Southern Ocean. In 1773, James Cook became the first explorer to cross the Antarctic Circle but did not sight the continent. It was not until 1820 that Fabian Gottlieb von Bellingshausen and Mikhail Lazarev, two Russian explorers, officially became the first to discover Antarctica. Over the next century, explorers worldwide began to explore Antarctica, but it was in the early 20th century that the first major expeditions were launched. In 1901, Robert Falcon Scott led the first British expedition to Antarctica, and in 1907, Ernest Shackleton led the first expedition to reach the South Pole. Antarctica has become a significant destination for scientific research in the years since. Scientists from all over the world study Antarctica's climate, geology, and biology. Antarctica also has several research stations where scientists live and work year-round. Despite the advances that have been made in Antarctic exploration and research, there are still many mysteries surrounding the continent. Its extreme conditions and inaccessible terrain have made it a challenging subject for study, preserving its secrets under a thick blanket of ice that has not melted for millions of years. This isolation has spurred countless theories about what lies beneath the surface, from ancient artifacts of lost civilizations to evidence of alien visitation and hidden military installations. The history of Antarctica is as vast and varied as the ice sheets that cover it. Advanced civilization hidden in Antarctica. Recent studies reveal that Antarctica, India, and Africa once comprised the supercontinent Gondwana until they broke apart roughly 80 million years ago. Antarctica was teeming with both animal and plant life, and the landscape was largely flat and demarcated by a slow-moving river. Through analyzing the sediments both offshore and along the coast in 2013, it was determined that around 34 to 24 million years ago, the glacier began carving out the steep mountain ranges and valleys that lay under today's ice cap. However, the crustal displacement theory contends that humans could have still been living in parts of an ice-free Antarctica as recently as 12,000 years ago. A number of Antarctica maps derived from ancient cultures showed the continent was not always covered under ice. A Turkish admiral named Piri Reis, credited with creating an early map in 1513, depicts Antarctica to be ice-free long before its western discovery by two Russian explorers in 1820. The race map was found at Istanbul's Topkapi Palace in 1929. Additionally, 2 decades after Race, in 1534, Roncius Phineas composed a map also displaying a remarkably accurate deglaciated land mass. Yet another cartography contribution was Ortelius Phineas's map in 1531 that even showed Antarctica's mountains and rivers. All these maps featuring a preglacial Antarctica closely approximate the modern map of the continent minus its current layer of ice, strongly pointing to evidence that humans once inhabited this region in a hospitable climate. It's believed that these early 16th century maps may have been partially compiled from ancient sources dating back to the Egyptian and Sumerian civilizations. Further supporting this belief of ancient civilizations inhabiting the continent, scientists have recently discovered 2 large pyramids located just 10 miles inland and a third near the coastline. NASA's Operation Icebridge has experts believing an ancient civilization once existed under the 2.3 kilometers of ice. The team of American and European researchers feel this could be their smoking gun, proving that Antarctica was not a frozen tundra but was once teeming with plentiful plant and animal life that included human beings. Of course, wherever pyramids are discovered, speculation always abounds connecting them with extraterrestrial contact. Additionally, recent scientists believe the lost city of Atlantis could lie under the continental ice shelf. If these latest revelations turn out to be true, it would forever change our perception of history. Egyptologists and scholars have long believed that the Egyptian Sphinx is far older than 10,000 years old, even up to 800,000 years old. Water erosion on the world's largest statue indicates that the climate in Egypt likely changed drastically from a rainforest to a desert in a relative short period of a few thousand years. This view is consistent with conclusions held by scientists studying climate change in Antarctica as well. Further reinforced by the maps of the early 1500s that remarkably match today's radar images of present-day subglacial Antarctica. Moreover, in recent years, enormous pyramid structures have also been discovered in Mexico, Central and South America, China, Kazakhstan, Bosnia, among other places. Building these mysterious mammoth structures has only reinforced a common assertion that ancient cultures around the world may well have been assisted by advanced alien technologies. Fast-forwarding to the 20th century and Hitler's passion for utilizing ancient occult knowledge and exploration that he was certain would aid his ambitions, promoting his Aryan super race as Earth's self-anointed rulers. The German dictator's undeniable connection to Antarctica runs deeper than the thick 2 to 4 mile ice shelf covering the continent. William Tompkins, a brilliant young American naval engineer instrumental in advancing the U.S. weapons design and aeronautics technology during World War II, has gone public reporting that naval intelligence spies infiltrating behind German enemy lines reported that Hitler's war machine was being aided by alien space technology. It was Tompkins's daunting task to utilize vital incoming information and secrets for optimal use in developing America's interstellar space propulsion program. Tompkins even maintains that several extraterrestrials masquerading as his secretaries in attractive blonde humanoid female form were members of a so-called Nordic alien civilization, furnishing him with crucial knowledge that facilitated progress breakthroughs in early aerospace technology. Tompkins documented his involvement in the U.S. Navy secret space program in a book published a year ago entitled, Selected by Extraterrestrials. William Tompkins has also corroborated the Nazi connection, establishing an underground German military base in Antarctica. Another remarkable story is a letter allegedly written in German by a seaman on the U-209 submarine named Karl Unger. He explains that Dr. Karl Horschafer, a former German army general and influential political geographer, had given submarine captain Heinrich Brodder detailed instructions and maps to navigate to specific coordinates in Antarctica that enabled them to enter underground caverns that then led to the Hollow Earth. Unger said the entire crew would remain there. The war records do list the U-209 as missing. Admiral Richard E. Byrd's alien encounter in Antarctica. Evidence of the Hollow Earth theory was further reinforced when the Medal of Honor recipient Admiral Richard E. Byrd revealed that he had an encounter with a lost civilization in Antarctica shortly after the war. Through U.S. intelligence services, Operation Paperclip was spawned, granting safe passage for relocation to America for more than 1,500 German scientists, engineers, and skilled technicians for immediate employment. Despite destroying evidence, the U.S. government learned of Germany's advances militarily and the ET assistance that enabled them. So the program was developed to jointly gain an unsurpassable military advantage while jump-starting a fledgling aerospace program, as well as denying Germany, the Soviet Union, and the rest of the world the German brain power. To Washington's consternation, thousands of scientists, engineers, and Third Reich military and political leaders were never accounted for. Neither were scores of German submarines. Inside sources suspected many had escaped to the German underground base in Antarctica. To seek and destroy perhaps the enemy's final refuge, Admiral Richard Byrd was the natural selection to lead the military expedition called Operation High Jump. Billed as a reconnaissance mission to establish the research base Little America 4, the operation hit the high seas in December 1946. When encountering the press, Byrd tended to be more truthful than his government preferred, and just prior to embarking, he openly stated that High Jump was a military expedition to look for some bases. By January 1947, Byrd's Navy Task Force 68 fleet, consisting of 4,700 Navy and Marine personnel, 13 warships, including an aircraft carrier, a battleship, and a destroyer, and 33 aircraft had reached their icy destination and set up their base camp from which to locate and take out the secret Nazi base. Never before had such a vast operation been deployed to the southernmost continent. During the first few weeks of settling in and engaging in reconnaissance and surveying, outside of some close calls under extreme harsh climate conditions, everything seemed to be progressing as scheduled. While on 2 reconnaissance occasions, the flight navigation and radio equipment on Byrd's aircraft failed while flying over a plush green valley, lakes and rivers free of ice in 70 degrees Fahrenheit temperatures. This strange anomaly has fueled speculation over the hollow Earth theory. After nearly 2 months on assignment, suddenly, out of nowhere, the Naval Task Force was attacked by combat power and conditions never before witnessed on a battlefront. Seemingly springing up out of nowhere from the water emerged a number of saucer-shaped craft that exerted a force field shield that appeared to be controlled by anti-gravity. UFOs in the mayhem. 3 U.S. ships were sunk, including the destroyer. The 6-month operation was forced to abruptly abandon its mission. This was alien technology in action. As the defeated task force began its return to the U.S., Admiral Byrd's initial press report from Chile explained that his mission had to be aborted due to taking in too many casualties. The Chilean newspaper El Mercurio ran a March 5, 1947 article stating, Admiral Byrd then declared that it was imperative for the United States to initiate immediate defense measures against hostile regions. The admiral further stated that he didn't want to frighten anyone unduly, but that it was a bitter reality that in case of a new war, the continental United States would be attacked by flying objects which could fly from pole to pole at incredible speeds. Admiral Byrd repeated the above points of view resulting from his personal knowledge gathered both at the North and South Poles before a news conference held for International News Service. Byrd arrived in America from his failed operation on April 14, 1947. Again, when he later testified before Congress, the admiral reiterated his alarming warning, in case of a new war, the U.S. would be attacked by fighters that are able to fly from one to the other with incredible speed. Exactly what he meant is open to question, but what's clear is the advanced aeronautic technology his task force encountered makes space travel very conceivable, suggesting that he was either attacked by an alien force or an advanced German air superiority aided by extraterrestrials. Definitely, there can be no doubt that the German military in Antarctica had acquired advanced space-age technologies from an alien civilization or a hostile extraterrestrial force existed under the ice or a joint combination of both violently repelled the mighty American naval fleet. Byrd's enigmatic assertion leaves open the possibility that his opponent could navigate from pole to pole through a hollow Earth passageway, surmising that World War III would likely be eventually fought at the poles. National Geographic featured Byrd's high jump story entitled, Our Navy Explores Antarctica, in its October 1947 issue, but no sooner was it published, the U.S. government immediately pulled virtually every issue of the magazine from circulation. Coincidentally, in July that same year, the UFO crash in Roswell, New Mexico was also quickly covered up. Like Byrd's violently close encounter with ET technology at the South